Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 41 of In the Mix from the Six. That's Adis Kucevic. I'm Jay Boyle. We got a few nice, juicy topics to get to today. Obviously, UFC 251 occurred on the weekend. To me, it's the biggest letdown the UFC could have asked for.
Bro,
terrible.
it made me look like the biggest idiot of life. If you guys watched my last episode, you probably think I have no idea about anything.
I told them not to listen to you for the betting advice, and I was right. At least I got Peter Yan right, and I got Holloway right. We'll get into that.
We both got Holloway up there.
We're going to discuss NBA is close to returning. Training camps have kicked off. Everybody's in the bubble. We're going to give you our take. The East is set. Who's making it? So we're going to give our take on how we think the West is going to play
ain't going nowhere.
No, they're not. John Wall ain't coming back. Bradley Beal opted out. So they're donezo. And then we're really going to dive into the Bucks and the Patriots. Right? Cam Newton signed on. We all know that. Who's got a better championship odds? And
Hold on. Time out.
Tell you what.
You just said the Bucks.
Buccaneers.
Oh, yeah, okay. I thought you were talking about, I was like, yo, this man got lost in basketball and football already, bro.
These are the times where I wonder why I host a podcast.
Bro, I forgot the topics again. My bad.
These are the times I wonder why I ever got you on this show.
We needed like OTR with the things on the side.
Yeah, need the list. Okay, we'll get into UFC 251. I'm going to ask you this to start off. Did Max Holloway get robbed? Did he win that fight?
Yo, you know what? There's big journalists like Errol Hawani who are just saying that this is not a robbery because only one round here was at question. I'm disagreeing with that. This was such a bad robbery. Just because this is the second fight that these two are fighting, so if it goes the same way, likely not going to happen a third, right?
Yep.
And unlike the first fight, Holloway actually won this one decisively to me. Those first two rounds were for sure his. He dropped them in both. The third round I thought was his, and I had him in the fifth too. So
here's the thing.
If I was scoring I could have even had it Holloway being more dominant than these people believe.
I think Volkanovski won that fourth and fifth. And I know Ariel Hawani saying it was one round in question. I get that. But nobody thinks that round went to Volkanovski except two of the judges. One judge got it right. Two of the judges got it wrong. I feel bad for Max.
Do you know what's crazy though? That one judge that gave it to Holloway didn't even give Holloway that third round. He gave Holloway the fifth round. Yeah, which was like, okay, if you think Holloway lost the third, how could you possibly think that he won the fifth? No, it was just like, I don't know. The scoring is
the fifth. Volkanovski knew he had to score points, right? So he was the aggressor. Yeah. Now did he really do much? Like he didn't do as much in that fifth round as Holloway did the first two rounds.
The first knocked him down both rounds. Like you can't even argue that. Yeah.
I feel bad for Max because he looked so sharp. Everybody was clowning him, saying he only did Zoom workouts, but he looked well rested and he was healthy. Compared to the first fight, those leg kicks, he handled them. His leg was red, but he wasn't limping around and switching his stance like it was last time. So big ups to him. But I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way. So what I want to get at is what I've said to you. Always bring it back related to the John Bones Jones versus Reyes, right? Yeah. Everybody thought Reyes, he did more than John Bones Jones did that fight. Took him down, didn't do a lot of damage. But to me, the judges hold the title holder, the champ, with such a grain of respect that you literally have to murder a guy to take his belt if it goes to a decision. Like, you can't. And then it goes back to even if you want to go to GSP. Who did he fight against that guy?
I was going to mention this. It was against Johnny Hendricks. And you and me had a personal bet on this fight. And I remember even you yourself put your money on GSP. It was like, I feel bad for taking your money.
But it was the same thing. Yeah. Like, Hendricks won that fight. But he didn't knock him out, went to a decision, and they gave it to GSP. Like, if it goes, there's no way, it seems, in the UFC to win a decision against the champ. And so, how long is the UFC going to let this go on? Dana White, the guys who actually have the power in the UFC, how long is this going to go on? Like, they need to rejig their scoring system somehow, some way.
For sure. The problem is they use a scoring system that it does not work in MMA. They use a boxing scoring system, a 10-9 must system, meaning one guy needs to get 10, and the other guy needs to get 9. So one guy has to be the winner of that round. So even though Max Holloway drops him in the first two rounds and is clearly the more dominant fighter in the first three rounds of the fight, they still do a 10-9 must system. So literally
it should be like 10-5.
having two judges question one round changes the whole fight now. You know what I mean? Because whatever judges thought that that Volkanovski won that third round, clearly gave him a 10-9 there. So then the system just broke itself because now Holloway can't win the title, even though he's so dominant in those 3 rounds.
Yeah,
Unless he again knocked him out in the 4th or 5th. But my issue is that it happened in their second fight. In their first fight, you could like it was a close fight, but you know like majority agreed that Volkanovski took that fight. The fact that in the second fight, majority are saying that the challenger won. You can't do a third fight, obviously, because this guy's 2-0 against him. So if you do a third fight, you have to do a 4th and 5th. Like, it's stupid, right? You can't do a third fight. So now, but everyone now knows Max Holloway's the best in that division.
No, that's the thing I want to get at, though. It's in a weird state. We all know he's the best in the division now. So let's break down the future of that division, right? The featherweight. So I assume this guy, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Zabit Medsharapov.
It's the beat, yeah.
He's I would assume is gonna get the next shot at Volkanovski.
The thing is, though, he is supposed to be fighting. If you look down the list, Yair Rodriguez.
Why is he taking the fifth guy? Why is he fighting the 5th guy?
Because that's been like a fight that people have talked about for a while, but now they're having issues booking that fight now too. And the only other guy I can even see being there to contend is who's fighting on Wednesday. Who's fighting tomorrow? Sorry. Calvin Kattar. He's fighting Dan Ige, but he's only number 6 right now.
Yeah, and who's he fighting?
He's fighting Danny Ige. I think he's 10th, maybe.
Dan Ige, 10th.
Yeah.
So, what about Brian Ortega?
They have him scheduled to fight the Korean Zombie, who's also ranked number 4, I think.
Number 4. When are they fighting? Oh, this fight and
now
the judges they destroyed this division.
Exactly, because now you don't have a clear contender for Volkanovski, and you clearly know that he shouldn't be the champion. So the division is just kind of like a standstill.
Max is now gonna have to wait, and he's a guy. He fights more often than I'd say vast majority of UFC fighters. Like he generally has 2 to 3 fights a year, right? Yeah. So he's now gonna have to go on probably a 6 to 8 month layoff, waiting for an opponent, and then if Volkanovski holds his title and Max wins a fight against whether Ortega or the Korean Zombie or Zabit down the line, like how many of those does he have to win before he gets Volkanovski number 3? The best thing for Max Holloway is if Volkanovski loses the next title match.
That's exactly what I was trying to get at. He's going to have to wait until one of these other contenders are able to beat Volkanovski and take the title from him, because then they can make an interesting matchup between the two. But no one wants to see a third fight from those two.
Yeah, but I think if Volkanovski goes and defends his title and say Max goes and wins his next 2 fights, you have to. You have to make the third fight.
You have to, but the problem with having a third fight is, let's say Holloway does win that third fight. Who's to say?
Then Volkanovski go and win a few more fights like Max did, and you can go get another title shot. It's gonna suck.
They put themselves in a shitty position because the judging, and this has been a problem in UFC for years now. So they figured it out.
This division had some promise. It's been interesting for years, and they just sapped out all the energy and intrigue out of the featherweight division.
Of course, all right. You can't have a division where you think the champion's not the best. It doesn't work like that.
It's a problem. All right, let's move on to the main event. This was one of the biggest letdown main events I've seen.
Oh, 100%.
I don't know if this was worth or the last style bender, Adesanya, his last fight, which was a worse main event. Like
for sure, the Romero and Adesanya fight.
A little bit worse.
But here's my thing though with the Usman thing. I told you this before the fight. I said if it does get out of that first and second round, that's what I was expecting to see.
Right, yeah.
A guy's just gonna clinch him and hold him against the cage, and he's way stronger than him at that point. He has more energy. That was the way for Usman to win. And I knew if it went that way, this is a reception which sucks for him, right? Because this is similar to what GSP used to get to, where he wins a fight, but people are now saying, "Oh, it's so boring" and all this crap.
But in my opinion, GSP would strike more than Usman did that fight.
But the thing
at least would hit the guy on the ground. Like Usman's biggest thing was just stomping on Jorge's toes.
I know, but buddy, the issue here is you're fighting such a dangerous guy that if this is a way for you to win, you take that the whole 5 rounds.
Well, that's the only way he could win. He knew it. Even though he said different afterwards. The way that first round went, if it was stand up, Masvidal I think would have got more confidence going forward, and he would have killed him. So
the thing is, I knew Masvidal's wrestling would be up to par. Like, he could stop the takedowns, but the thing is, with you, like, there's so much energy put in stopping a takedown or just holding a guy off you on the cage.
He can only stop him for so long.
That's what I'm saying. It's only gonna. I knew his energy to knock Usman out would only last the first round or second.
I don't think Masvidal looked in shape. Forget like the cardio, the endurance as the fight went on. Just looking at him, I think when you cut that much weight quickly, it comes back on quick, right?
Sure.
In one day. And I don't think he didn't look like how he has his last few fights,
like
his body form, right? So maybe you get a little more strength in you in a full camp, and I think that's
the risk. That's the risk he took, you know.
Yeah, but for him, I think I forget who was saying it. I think commentators after the game. It's kind of a win-win. If he won this fight, obviously it's huge, but he lost. Yeah. Now you can go and have the rematch with Diaz, which is going to be a big ticket, or you can just go 2 fights within the division, and you're right back to fighting Usman again.
Here's the thing that I found interesting, though. Even after the fight, they both do a post-fight press conference, right? Where they sit and talk with the media about the fight.
Yep.
If you go on YouTube, the numbers for Masvidal's post-fight were a few million. And then I went to Usman's post-fight conference, and it was less than 1 million. And I was
he's not a personality. Nobody cares for him.
That's where the win-win comes for Jorge Masvidal. Is, okay, you took a 6 days notice. Who cares, buddy? You did your best. You know, you went 5 rounds with him. Good job. But now Usman, who actually won the fight, is like, yeah, but you could have done better. You could have done more. We wish we would have seen more. And it sucks to be in that position, but I don't want to say he brings it on himself, because I do think in that 5th round he could have done a little bit more to make it more decisive and make it a little bit more.
Make it a statement.
Exactly.
He had him in the positions and just didn't do enough damage.
Again, we're not in there fighting Masvidal, you know? So, like, if he felt safe doing this, why not stay safe?
Okay, before we move to the outlook of the division, the one thing I want to talk about that Usman said post-fight. He said, I would have loved a full training camp, and then I would have been able to finish him standing up. I see no way that Usman is finished. No. You could have a year-long training camp. He's not finishing Masvidal standing up, and that's what he said. He said, I wish I had a full training camp so I could finish him standing up. Like,
even on the ground. If both of them had 6 months training camp, I honestly believe the fight would look exactly the same. That's the only way he could win. He's not winning by. Yeah,
but in a full training camp,
he's not been a guy to dominate someone.
Masvidal's wrestling, you have a lot more time to prepare for Usman's style of wrestling. But I'm saying,
no. The only change that you would see in both fight camps would be, I think, from the Masvidal side. Usman, that's his way to win. The only thing is, maybe you can use that method of winning a little bit more with more energy, but you had to.
Because he said he wanted to show his full toolbox.
Didn't do it, buddy. But
that's not the fight. I don't want to take credit from him.
The thing is, I don't want to take credit from him because you won the fight. Okay, you know what? You beat the guy who everyone was talking about, Street Jesus, baptizing people, knocking people out. You beat him, so you can't take too much credit with him. Obviously, it wasn't an entertaining way. It wasn't a good fight. But if you notice, the guy who was supposed to fight was Gilbert Burns.
Yep.
Coming into the fight, saying he thinks it's going to be a really boring fight. Called it to a T.
He was correct. All right.
But it's a good night, though. Either way.
I don't think so. I mean, the
excitement was there. You felt it.
No,
obviously the fight didn't go the way you wanted.
The excitement was there prior to the event.
Yeah.
First 2 girls' fights were okay, right? The first 2 fights, and then
that Rose fight was good, buddy.
Yeah, it was.
Rose with Andrade, that was a good fight.
I said
that first fight was kind of
that fight was nice.
Mismatch.
I forget the other girl's name. She got ended pretty quick. Paige Van Zandt.
Paige Van Zandt, yeah, that was a mismatch.
Damn.
Well, stick to Instagram, buddy.
Whoa, let's not patronize her.
Bro, the whole week, this girl was talking to the media and telling the media, I make more money on Instagram than I do in the UFC. And you see what Dana White said after? He's like, maybe she should test free agency and start looking to do other things. UFC ain't giving her another contract.
I think they will because she's got a big following out of female fighters. And just for that reason.
Once you lose a lot, it's kind of dying out.
Yeah, that is true. Okay, and then obviously Peter Yan and Jose Aldo, I enjoyed that fight. And then just obviously Holloway.
To me, that was fight of the night. Yan and Aldo.
Who won fight of the night?
The Rose and Andrade fight.
Okay. And then obviously the Holloway was ruined by the judges, and Usman ruined the main event. So I think this event was a letdown for the UFC.
It was.
And you could read it all over Dana White's face post-fight. He put put the belt on Usman, and he bounced. He was so
He did.
upset. You could
I
tell.
noticed that. Usually sticks around a little bit. Shakes
100%
your
of the
hand,
time he
claps
does.
around.
Yeah.
Kind of just got out of there quick.
He
But
was
the
so
thing is,
upset.
he said it too, though. He said it. He's like, I knew that this is how the fight could go. And I feel like a lot of people, if you watched Usman, you knew that. Just like the Woodley fight. That Woodley fight wasn't the most exciting fight either, right?
No, but at least he bodied him on the ground a little more than Masvidal.
But, like, it was more, like, I felt like that's how it would go down, Like, he could just keep the guy.
Legitimately,
like,
the only entertaining part of that fight was when he body slammed Masvidal once.
Yeah. And I don't know.
And then he stomped on his toes for the next 20
the first round was exciting.
Yeah, it was. Okay, before we move on, what happens in that division moving forward? Gilbert Burns, he's going to get the title shot, I would assume. That makes sense. This is his fight. He tested positive for
training
COVID.
Partner too. I think that's the best guy to make at least Kamaru Usman seem more entertaining.
Does Colby Covington have a scheduled next fight?
Apparently it's Woodley. I saw, but I don't know if it's set in stone yet, but apparently they offered the Woodley fight.
So to me, it goes, Jorge's going to fight Leon Edwards. And
they could sell that a lot with that fight because of the backstage fight, but the thing is, it showed with, like, after the fight, the pay-per-view buys is the biggest since Khabib and Conor. You got to capitalize on his stardom now. You don't know if it's going to last. If he loses one more fight, that could quickly go away. You need to capitalize on his stardom.
What's Leon Edwards' thought? Here's what I think. People are going to say Masvidal should go fight another boxer so we can finish him and have a striking, entertaining fight. Yeah. I think he should go and fight some guys who are wrestlers to get ready for taking Usman on again.
Yeah, you could. I thought, and not even that, you have a perfect story there. If he fights Colby Covington, that's a great. If he beats him, that's a great way to get back to a title shot, and that's gonna sell a lot of pay-per-views because those two were best friends.
Is Usman going to take the rematch if Masvidal only has one fight? Say he beats Covington? I don't think so. I think he's gonna say Masvidal's got to win at least 2 fights. Yeah. That's why I'm thinking you fight Leon Edwards and then either the winner or the loser of Cup.
I have the perfect next fight for fucking Masvidal.
Yeah, I know you do, but I don't know.
One guy that's been able to match
realistic about this.
Here's the thing, though. So
I would love to see it.
You lost the fight. You got, like, I don't know how much damage you took, but you're gonna have some medical suspension. It's gonna be a little bit, so you're training or doing anything again. I don't see him coming back till the end of the year, maybe December, November, around that time. And that's enough time for McGregor to decide to come back, because I follow Big Man. He's been training, McGregor.
Has he?
He's the most active retired man I've ever seen.
No, he always is, because when you're in that mindset, you can't just go start sitting on a couch, right?
But even McGregor can see it. You look at those pay-per-view buys. Them two combined, you could possibly double those buys and just be the biggest UFC card of all time.
I think they are the most payable. Listen, those two are the most entertaining fighters outside of the ring.
Yeah.
So it would sell huge.
Can you imagine the press conferences and shit between those two? Talking shit.
Do a Conor Floyd tour, like you could.
Exactly. Yeah, you easily could, especially in the UFC. There's not a lot of fights that you can do that with. This is one of them.
The thing is, Conor has spoken of some interest in fighting Masvidal in the past, but Masvidal has said, "I will eat that guy," and he's like, "I'll kill him."
Perfect setup.
So, but this just comes down to Conor, and hey, how much did Dana end up paying Masvidal? He said he got close to almost everything he wanted, and Conor is gonna say, for me to come back, he needs a heavy payday.
Yeah, but think about how much money the UFC just made with all those pay-per-view buys. Yeah. Alone on those pay-per-view buys, along with everything else.
Yeah. Now, before we wrap up UFC, there's one thing that just came to my mind while we were speaking here.
Yeah.
Could you put some, I love to rip on Dana White. Could you put some blame on the main event not being that entertaining on Dana White? Because he could have made this fight originally, but he refused to give Masvidal the money and said Masvidal's got 7 fights left, right? And then he ended up caving and gave Masvidal his money anyways. And both guys could have actually had a camp and could have been more prepared.
Masvidal kind of touched that on that in the post fight. He was saying, like, we could have just done this earlier. Like, we could have had this set in stone. I would have been training for a fight. I think of course Masvidal's training, but there's a big difference between training and like fight camp. Exactly. It's so much more intense. It's so much more specific on like little things that you gotta do. Like, I know he brought in a lot of wrestlers, but that's what that fight showed. It showed that he was just practicing wrestling defense all the time.
Yeah.
There was no way that he could have capitalized on it.
He couldn't turn it around. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like, he stops the takedowns and he stays on the cage because he's tired now.
Well, you know what? you know my opinions on Dana White. I think he does too much talking and he's not great at what he does. Um, so I'll
He
leave
got
it
a
at
little.
that.
The thing is, of course, it's not him just doing the payment, but the UFC got a little exposed there. You know, they were just like, "No, we're not paying you that much. We're gonna move on from you."
Yeah,
Oh, and then when they need you,
that's
and
what I'm
Masvidal
saying.
even said that he's like, "Stick to your guns and ask for the money you want and stick to it,
Like
because they're gonna
how
need you
stupid do
eventually."
they look now, right? Like
I'm saying, yeah.
refuse to give the guy the money and you ended up caving anyways. So
So
you could have
why?
done this first of all and
But
it
you
would have been
ruined
a better
it.
fight. Yeah.
Exactly.
Lost
Yeah.
their credibility. You know,
Yeah, I can
Dana
see. I
White's
can
a
see that.
puppet, man.
I can
Just a
see that.
puppet. All
Yes.
right. All right, we're gonna move on from the UFC. We could talk about the
Yeah.
shit for 3 hours. All right, the NFL. Things are starting to heat up. I still don't have full faith they're gonna come back without a hitch because they still think they're playing in their own cities like the MLB. So we'll
Yeah.
see what that leads to. But obviously, two biggest storylines this summer have been where is Cam Newton gonna end up and Tom Brady. Tom Brady went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Cam is now New England Patriot. So we've seen
Finally.
some guys discuss this. I don't think they've got into the depths that they need to. You want to go first or me? Who's going to have a better season? Who's more of a title contender between the Buccaneers and the
You know
Patriots?
where? All right, I'll start. But you know where I'm sitting here. Obviously, I'm gonna start with Cam, but I'm gonna tell you why I'm starting with Cam.
Besides your fandom?
Of course, besides my fandom, besides my little fan
Fan
crazy
crush?
over him,
Yeah, okay.
but I'm looking at their divisions, buddy. Look who like Miami Dolphins. Like they added the
They'll be,
quarterback, but they haven't
you
gotten
know
that
what?
much better. No, nothing
They ended off the
solidifies that
season
they're a
well
lot better,
last year, but I think they're going to be 5-6 wins. That's probably about it.
right? Perfect. And then New York Jets, again, another team that hasn't really done much to get that
Tire
much
fire
better.
shit show.
Buffalo Bills, the only team I think in that division that's really gotten better.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of those games, these are going to be easy wins. And you might pick on Cam Newton a little bit. I feel like we're going to see some real change from here, especially from a coach like Belichick.
Yeah.
It's not going to be. They're going to run. I know they're going to run the offense through him. And they're going to use him a lot, but it's not going to be the same as how Carolina did it. I don't think they're going to be allowing him to run as much. They're going to force
Really?
him, but they're going to.
I think they will.
You think they will?
I'll tell you why, and baby, I'll let you finish.
My only reason I think they won't is because of the history you've seen with Cam Newton with running so much. You've seen countless seasons where he just can't stay healthy the whole season, especially coming off where he's missed practically an entire season. I think he's only played 3 games last year.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be a little iffy to have him run so much, but the fact that he has that in his back pocket and in his toolbox, he's gonna like these games. A lot of these games I feel like are gonna be a lot easier, especially when you compare it to the Bucks.
Okay, but you're
The
talking
Bucks
regular
division,
season. I would agree. Their division is garbage, and even with the
yeah.
Bills, Cam in his career is
But
2-0. Hold
but
on.
this is what.
Cam
But
is. I just want to tell you, I'm agreeing with you in a sense. Cam is 2-0
yeah,
even against the Bills in his career for 7 TDs and only 1 interception. He's
yeah,
played
but
well against them.
you gotta look
But
at the division that
when
Bucks are in, buddy.
we're coming, yeah, but I'm talking about playoffs and this contending for
Yeah,
the Super Bowl.
I'm saying even beyond, because in the AFC you ain't got a sure like winning team besides the Kansas City Chiefs. In the NFC, you're filled with that.
It's
You got the
tougher
Seattle
playoff route
Seahawks.
for sure.
Yeah, and then, this is just playoff talk we were talking. You got the Seattle Seahawks. You got San Francisco. You got
New Orleans,
freaking even
Green
Dallas
Bay.
is getting better this year.
No,
You got New Orleans, and
don't talk
unless
about Dallas to me, bro.
if they
Don't talk about Dallas.
they bring, but don't worry. As long as they don't have thing at quarterback, they'll be fine. What's his name? Andy Dalton. As long as he's not their starting quarterback, they'll be fine. No
Well,
one.
looks like Dak is gonna end up signing the franchise tag only because his contract deadline is
His only
approaching very
option.
quick.
But again, and then in their division, the Bucks, they got tough teams. Carolina's no slouch, even though they lost Cam. They picked up a great quarterback, and they still have Christian
Great
McCaffrey.
quarterback,
Not
Teddy
great,
Bridgewater, great
but
quarterback.
an educated quarterback who's played for
Okay.
the Saints, who's been through it. You know, he's been through the ropes. He'll get you the wins. It's not like a Miami or like a New York Jets, right?
Yeah.
And then they also have the Saints and the Falcons have fallen off, obviously. But just looking at how their schedules could be and just the teams that they're going to be facing up, I just think the Pats are in a better position to not only get more wins in the season, but to go further in the postseason.
All right, so let me explain to you why I think Tampa Bay Buccaneers actually have a better chance to competing for a Super Bowl. Because I'm looking past the regular season. They're both going to make the playoffs, but I'm looking postseason and into the bowl, right? So I have iffy feelings about Cam. I like him and I don't like him. the biggest issue I found with Cam Newton throughout his career has been people say it's decision making. That might be part of it. It's either decision making or his accuracy. This guy has only passed over 60% twice in his career. And 1 year he had exactly 60.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, for example, has passed over 60%.
That was his most recent, though, no?
No, his most recent he was like 58. But Tom Brady, for example, has passed over 60% the last 19 years. And even last year, which was, most people would say last year was his worst year ever, he passed 60.8%. And that was with the worst receiving group he's ever had. And who has now inherited that receiving group? Cam Newton on the New England Patriots. So for me, a guy who has low accuracy percentage and you're going to, a pretty bad receiving group, that's going to be tough. Okay? And then also, I know the Pats defense is good, but I think the Bucs defense this year, without Jameis Winston's 30 interception, they're going to be a top 10 defense. Flip side for the Pats, Cam doesn't throw a bunch of interceptions, but he throws more than Brady. Brady's averages about 7 a season. Cam's going to be around the 12 to 13, 14 mark. So a little more pressure on your defense there too. But let's go into a little bit more, okay? Cam's best QBR ever was 67 in 2015 when he won the MVP. Tom's worst year of his – sorry?
15-1.
Yeah, I said great year, right? His best QBR ever was 67. Tom's worst year of his career last year, he had a QBR of 66.6. So only 0.4 worse was Brady's worst year compared to Cam Newton's best year. Now, don't get me wrong. Brady has declined from his own standard. But has he really declined from a general QB standpoint in the NFL? No, he's still in the top echelon of QBs. I don't care what some other guys on Fox and ESPN are going to tell you. This guy can still get it done. We've seen older QBs become game managers and win Super Bowls, i.e. Peyton Manning, right? And there's been other examples. So what's telling me that the greatest QB of all time can't do the same thing? And now he's got one of the best receiving and tight end groups he's ever had in his career. Like, talk about Mike Evans. This guy's top 5, maybe 6th, 7th receiver in the league, okay? He's had a monster years. He had 1,450 yards 2 years ago. Last season, I believe, was around 1,200. And then you also got Chris Godwin, who put up over 1,300 yards last season. And then let's not forget about Mr. Rob Gronkowski. In the seasons where he's played 14 games minimum, he has never put up less than 1,000 yards. In 2018, only playing 11 games, averaged 13 yards per catch with 10 TDs. And after a year off, it's just like we just talked about why Max Holloway looked fresh, right? Rob Gronkowski, a year off, his head is clear, his body is fresh, no nagging injuries. He could have a monster year too. And we all know him and Tom Brady are electric together. That's Tom's favorite option. So you get two of the best receivers Tom's had in the last 5 to 7 years. He hasn't had a wide receiver like Mike Evans or Chris Godwin since, Wes Welker maybe, or even before that, Randy Moss. And then he gets his guy, Rob Gronkowski, back. That just is great. And Cam's top option on the other side is a 34-year-old concussion and injury-prone Julian Edelman. And according to the numbers, Julian Edelman has a 54.5% chance of injury this season and is projected to miss 2.8 games again. So we'll see how that goes, right? And if Edelman goes down, I know you have Mohamed Sanu. This guy only put up 520 yards in 15 games last season, and the Pats gave up a bloody first or second round pick for this guy. This is what leads me to believe Cam will be relied on more to run the ball because they have a decent running game. I think the Pats' running game is actually better than the Buccaneers, right? But when they're struggling to connect on the passes, he's going to start running because it's his natural instinct, more chance of getting injured again. Then also, you know why I think Belichick really wanted Garoppolo? I think he wanted a different style of QB, a guy who can roll out of the pocket a little bit, a little more mobile, can do some different things. Now he's got Cam Newton. He's never had a mobile QB before. He's licking his chops. You're telling me he's not going to use Cam Newton? Too. He can't use him the same way as Tom Brady because he's not Tom Brady. He can't throw as well as Tom Brady did.
They had Brissett too.
Yeah.
And
so
he ran the ball a whole lot.
Yeah. So I think Bill is going to say, how can I beat other teams' defenses? Outsmart them. Well, it's going to be getting Cam. Even stuff is just shifting the pocket, right, on the play action and stuff like that. I think the Bucs are set up for better success. Their defenses, like I said, Bucs are going to be a lot better without the 30 interceptions. And the offense, I'm giving the edge to the Bucs. And with Tom's leadership, his experience, I think they can do damage in the playoffs.
Listen, everything you said, I agree with. Great. The one point that you missed is what Tom Brady are we getting?
I just told you which Tom
Doesn't
Brady. Slightly
matter.
declined, but
No,
still
no.
top 10 in the league.
No. Okay. Doesn't matter what Tom Brady we get.
Does it matter?
Yeah, to like the team's success.
Yeah, well, I'm not projecting. I'm not
But
projecting
no,
a 2012 Tom Brady here.
I know you're not. I know you're
I'm
not.
projecting
But
last year's Tom Brady.
everything you've said here is in hopes that we get the Tom Brady that we're used to. We might not be getting that. This guy is turning in this next season 43 years
Are
old,
you
buddy.
listening to me?
If we have
I'm
something,
expecting what we got last year. I'm not
listen,
saying he's going to be 2013,
I don't want to hear
2014,
this.
or
I don't want to
2008
hear
Tom
this.
Brady.
He's 43 years old, buddy. And what's it called? You were talking about his completion percent, his numbers, and all that stuff, and
Yep.
the wide receivers that Pats have. Do you know what I feel like? There's a lot of success for those wide receivers. They might not be the best. They might not be the most experienced or most skilled, but it's the play that Belichick sets up for them to be wide open. Anyone, they can all catch a football. They all know how to do that. But as soon as they're put in that position to be open to catch the football and gain a few yards or running, and you're having a guy in Cam Newton who he can get better. This is not a Tom Brady he's 43 now, so who knows what we're gonna get from him. For sure, it's not gonna be the best years of his life or the best Tom Brady that we've ever had. I feel we have an opportunity in Cam Newton to see the best Cam Newton we have yet seen. And I feel like not having that in Tom Brady is going to be a real detriment to that team. Because you're talking about Gronkowski and stuff too. Who knows if he's even going to receive a pass? Like he might just be used to block as a tight end.
What are you talking
The
about?
man hasn't played in how long, and he's going to be receiving passes from a 43-year-old man? Like, I like
he
the Bucs.
he turns 43 in hold on here.
Yeah.
Tom turns 43 in August.
Okay.
Do you think there's going to be a huge difference between what he did at 42 last season, taking the Pats to 12-4?
Buddy, listen, this is the first year that we're going to have a definite answer. Was it Belichick or was it Brady?
I don't know about that.
No. On Belichick's side.
You don't actually have an answer to that. If Tom had left in his prime, then you have an answer to that. But now, if Tom goes and stinks up the field because he's old and his arm has become a noodle, how can you say that it was Belichick and not Brady?
No.
I don't like either of them.
You just said if Belichick can take the team he has right now and still be dominant and a top team in the AFC.
No, I expect them to be a top team in the AFC. The AFC
but that shows what he does for that team, because especially in Tom Brady's last year, they were still number one in their division, and they're still favorites to win the AFC, maybe behind Kansas City.
Yeah, Kansas City was always favorite.
Yeah, but I'm saying so who's really? And if Tom Brady goes to the Bucs, doesn't even get close to achieving any of that. You got to kind of side with Belichick.
No,
because he doesn't have.
If Tom had left at even 37. And then went and sucked somewhere, I would agree with you. But if he leaves now and he sucks, he could just be. I don't think he's gonna suck, but I'm just saying if he does,
if he does, then why didn't he suck? Why didn't he suck on? Yeah, but why is age decline gonna be an excuse used for him on Bucks and not him on Pats? Because I never people.
It was used last year.
He declined a little bit.
Are you kidding me? Shannon Sharp, Nick Wright, everybody, ESPN and Fox saying that, writing off Tom Brady last year, saying that he's old and he's declined.
And the year before that, when he won the championship, I didn't hear that one.
Yes, they did. That's why he had to be a game manager.
A little bit,
and they only scored 12 points in that Super Bowl against the Rams.
Still a champion though.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. He can do that
so
even if he declines.
That's getting the result, or is it Brady that's getting the result?
I think it's both.
That's where I think it's going to be shown.
I think you'll have.
If he can get the result with Cam Newton, that means Belichick can get the result with above decent quarterback.
You're about to say anybody. You're about to throw your guy right under the bus. You're about to just call Cam garbage.
I
got so excited. I was going to clip that and post it on Instagram every day for the rest of his life.
This is a Cam Newton who's missed the year, so I'm sure there's going to be he's going to have to get back into the flow of the game. But I'm just saying, if Belichick can have just a successful season with Cam Newton and the team that he has now, on that argument, I'm going to slowly start to side on the Belichick side.
Yeah. Listen, you're just not realizing how elite Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are.
Okay? I know, especially Evans.
Just like you said, Belichick takes just like you're saying, Belichick can take guys who aren't great and get them open.
Yeah.
Mike Evans and Chris Godwin do that for themselves. Plus, Bruce Arians is not a slouch of a coach. He's a great offensive mind, great quarterback coach too.
No Belichick, though.
No, well, there's only one Bill Belichick. You want to compare him to Lombardi or something? Go ahead. But and as I'm saying, all Brady needs to do with those weapons and Gronk is just be a game manager. Don't turn the ball over, which even last year, he only had 7 interceptions.
Yeah.
Don't turn the ball over. Don't give bad field positioning to your defense, which he rarely does. Obviously, happens a couple times a game, but he's going to be able to manage that offense like he did in 2012 with the Pats, like Peyton Manning did in 2015 against the Panthers in the Super Bowl, and get those to that standpoint. It's possible.
Okay, now I'm going to go over to the Cam Newton side. Those last few years in Carolina, his O-line was helping him out zero, I feel. The guy had a few seconds in the pocket. Not even that. Not only was his O-line not really there to help him, the refs weren't either, because how many late hits has this guy taken, right? Things can change from it. Pats have a great O-line. They have a great defense. It's going to give him opportunity to really show off his skill.
Tell me, what changed in the Panthers O-line from 2015 to 2016? Did much change?
Like player-wise or what?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying performance-wise. I'm saying those last few years, I saw him getting hit more in the pocket than ever before. Did you not agree? And he has clearly less
but a
time.
lot was late hits, and I thought that should have been called. So I don't really know if that's his O-line's fault or more on the refs, right? But
O-line still
what I'm saying is Cam has
late hits or not.
Cam is inconsistent. 2015 wins MVP. What does he do the next season? Pretty much the same exact team. Passes 52.9%. Are you kidding me? Like, after you win the MVP, you go 15-1. You shit the bed the next year, and he shot it hard.
It's happened to Atlanta Falcons as well, buddy. It happens to the best of them.
Doesn't happen to Tom, so that's what I'm saying. You know, time will tell. I think regular season. Hold on.
Of Belichick, that ain't happening. A flop like that.
I will say I expect the Pats to have a better regular season because of the weakness of the division. Yeah. But I think in terms of who's going to be a better Super Bowl contender, who's a better chance in the playoffs, I believe the Bucs can go on a nice run, potentially get to the Super Bowl.
Would you not agree that the Bucs have more threats in the playoffs against them than the Pats do?
Until the conference championship game, would you rather go against any team in the NFC or the Chiefs?
No, but that's what I'm trying to get at. Besides the Chiefs, and maybe Baltimore, I don't know how they're going to look coming in next year. Like, in the NFC, it's fire at the top. Any team you get in the playoffs, it's going to be a struggle. It's not an easy win. I just don't know if you can say the same in the AFC. And I think that's where we're going to see a difference.
Yeah, no, AFC, it's just Baltimore, Kansas City, NFC stacked. But I'm just saying, I'd rather maybe even NFC, like trying to contain, what's his name, Lamar Jackson, is a tough task. When it gets to those standpoints in the playoffs, I'd maybe rather go against those teams in the NFC where you know what you're getting than against the Chiefs and the Ravens, which Ravens will see. I always said second year is their big year. And we've seen it with running quarterbacks, so they diminish after first year. Teams should figure them out. So let's see what I was more. I'm not sold on the Ravens being a title contender. I'm not.
On the Ravens?
I'm not.
I'm not either. Not yet. I have to see. There's more that I need to see, especially in the postseason.
Lamar needs to improve his pass accuracy. And I've told you before, the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen for a quarterback before was at the Pro Bowl in the accuracy competition when I think he got 1 point out of like possible 24. And he missed every single target. How? How are you an NFL quarterback and you can't hit a target in a Pro Bowl skills competition?
But he's a running back that turned into a quarterback, not the other way around.
You know? I know. So but to win, you can't just run it all game.
You've seen it though, because Cam Newton's best year, a lot of those touchdowns and stuff, especially on the goal line. A lot of it was Cam Newton running, but that's not sustainable, even for a guy as big as Cam Newton.
And that's why I always go back to the transition Russell Wilson has made in his career. He runs way less and he runs smarter now.
Yeah.
Right?
I think his best situation is he becomes a Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson uses his legs to confuse defenders and use it as a threat, but he doesn't really use it to pick up those big yardage gains. And
crazy how much you see him use it though.
And I always go back to that game that just blew both of our minds against I think it was the Packers.
So when he threw it to Metcalf? When he faked the run?
Yeah, there's one to Metcalf, and there's one where he faked it, and then he gave so I think it was to Penny or their other running back.
Yeah.
And that was also the same game where he ran it for 3 yards and lateraled it to his running back. Like,
only he can do that, bro.
Right? He won his first Super Bowl as more of a mobile QB, and now he's become even better. It's just Pete Carroll, I don't know. He likes the running offense. I can go on about how Pete Carroll doesn't use Russell Wilson correctly, but that's for another day.
Same with Cam Newton. I just want to get the last point. With Cam Newton, what I want to see is, okay, if you use him a lot in the running, use him in the goal lines and like the red zone. I hate when they run him in open field because even the late hits, they always allow it on him.
Yeah,
he's such a big guy.
Field
like
is
these
bigger
guys
hits
just throw
too.
their bodies on him. Yeah. So.
All right.
Surprise.
Tampa Bay. We'll see what they do in the Pats. And let's get to some basketball. All right. National Basketball Association. Training camps have begun in the bubble. Raptors started their first practice Saturday or Sunday. They're looking good.
Both team.
Serge Ibaka's been getting me hyped on it. TikTok, bro. This guy's killing the TikTok game.
You know, I like this shows, Raptors, we stick to the rules. Man, none of those mans got the virus because none of those mans broke court. I think only Boucher did once.
In Toronto, when they got back, yeah.
But allow the man. There's one guy.
I'm not allowing him. That's not cool.
Yo, he also put on weight, no?
Did he?
Yeah, bro. They barely put on muscle.
You want to talk about putting on weight? Mo Bamba looks like he's a beast now.
Mo Bamba?
Yeah.
Oh, he could be. I wanted him to be something when he came to Orlando.
Dude, this guy put on 28 pounds. He's jacked now. His biceps are the size of my head.
I think I might have seen a picture. I also saw Matt Thomas, Man, all hitting up fucking workout plans.
Everybody's in the gym. All right. Where do you want to start off with? Russell Westbrook testing positive, which I told you this was going to happen. What I said about a month ago he was going to.
Only guy though, of the war that we saw. No, that the protest.
Yeah, but DeRozan was with him. DeRozan had a mask on. DeRozan took off. He had a bandana or some cloth covering. He took it off when he was doing his speech with the mic.
I think they should be
Westbrook,
there.
No, they
should be at the protest.
100%.
But like, you were really there without a mask on. Like, you're going back to play. You're not going. You're not chilling for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's different if a guy on like Charlotte, like I forget the guy's name who was with J. Cole at some of the rallies in Charlotte. Good player.
Oh, was it Dennis Smith Jr.? Is it him?
No. Light skinned guy. Anyways.
Is Charlotte? Oh,
yeah.
Miles Bridges, maybe?
Yes, it was Miles Bridges. Yeah. Okay, anyways, but like he knows he's not going back to play. So if he catches it, it's not the end of the world. Russell Westbrook's on Houston. They're trying to win a chip, and this guy's at protest no mask.
And I know Westbrook's trying to win it. It's not just Houston's trying to win a chip. Westbrook, this is his best chance, so don't screw it up.
If he really wants respect on his name, he needs a chip.
Or at least conference final.
I've always said him and Harden are going to go down as two of the best players to never win shit in this league.
What about Giannis?
No, he's still young, man. I'm not going to write him off yet. And he has a chance to he's a good chance to make the finals this year. It's Bucks and Raptors. All right. The other funny story we want to get to. This lady tweeted out that she had already been invited to the bubble. She said, "This shit ain't gonna last." Do you think there's validity to that tweet?
100%.
Really?
Bro, it's not like I for sure because when Mo Bamba replied to her saying, "Oh, Mitchell's wildin',"
she said,
She said, "Shit, I wish I knew one of these young waste mans would try doing that shit. They're stupid, bro. The fact that how many of those mans, how many of those like everyone that's stepped out of the bubble so far, from what I've read, has been these fucking players that see maybe 3 minutes on the court, and I think those are the guys that's gonna ruin it for everyone because they could care less whether the NBA restarts or not because they're gonna get paid. They got their money."
They're not going to get paid if the game's shut down. And they're the ones
they've gotten some
think
of
LeBron James Harden need the money?
That's what I'm saying. No, but those guys have gotten some pay. It's not like they're just broke. But I'm saying, like, it's going to be one of those
the young guys who are getting like $1 million.
Invite a chick to a fucking bubble, bro.
The young guys are the ones who are making like $1 million and they're spending $987,000 a year. You know?
Maybe, but they're also wastesuits are gonna invite a chick to a bubble and be like,
okay, the reason why I think this girl maybe she was smart, she got clout on Twitter and Instagram. I'm just like, dude, this security at the bubble, from what I've understood, is locked down. Right? Like they let food be delivered. Like Uber said, Postmates will come in and meet you at the door.
Yeah.
But how else is this girl going to walk in the bubble through all that security?
Postmates.
Either a player's ring on her finger to say I'm a player, obviously she's not a player, or some sort of credential. How are you going to get in?
Bro,
And you
This
said
is why I said it came from the dumb waist suits, bro, because they're the ones that think they can get this girl in. This LeBron and all these other guys, they know they can't get anyone into the bubble because they're not stupid. They realize this. One of those young men probably on Instagram one night, chilling, was like, "Yo, I'll get you through. I'll get you through." Trying to make him sound
I
even
guess you could be right there. That it's not
special.
that they didn't even think about, could I get this girl in? They're just like, yo, I need to get this girl in.
Or
And
or at least just invite her,
yeah.
just so she can like say something back.
Hey, Stephen A. Smith said it a couple weeks ago, right? He
Yeah.
said the reason why I think
Bro.
this is gonna fail is because these guys are gonna get thirsty.
It's true though. And you see what he said about Joel Embiid?
What do you say?
He was saying, he's like, yo, the first person Embiid went to when he lost at Toronto, he went back to his hotel room, and who was there waiting for him? Apparently his girlfriend or something. But he was like, because Joel Embiid came out saying, I don't trust these other guys. I'm just gonna be playing video games in my room.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. I'm sure these players, from all the messages they get from girls, they're for sure they get the temptation. And I'm telling you, it's one of those stupid young wastelands that was like, yeah, you'll come through the bubble, I can get you in. And she's just posted and making fun of us.
You really hate these young wastemans, eh?
Bro, because as soon as the bubble started, bro, who's breaking it? Only these guys who haven't.
It is the youths.
Yet.
It's the youths. Okay.
Like Bruno Cabloco, son of a bitch, bro. This guy didn't even know he was on Houston, bro. This guy somehow tried to ruin it, bro.
Okay, but is his worse or the guy who was on Sacramento? Because Caboclo he just went outside of his hotel room, didn't leave the bubble. He left his hotel room before his COVID test came back. So I don't really know why he's sanctioned to an 8-day quarantine when, like, okay, let his COVID test come back. Where the guy in Sacramento, who I've never heard of before in my life, probably doesn't even play a minute. He just left the bubble. He crossed the line to go pick up food delivery. And then, okay, first of all, everybody's saying food delivery. I'm like, it's not delivery if he had to go pick it up. That's besides the point. That's just grammar that pisses me off.
Delivery to the freaking hotel.
But it didn't come to the hotel. You had to go pick it up.
Yeah, you were saying, is there actually like a line drawn where they can't cross?
Yeah, there's supposed to be there's lines. Or at least they know of the lines, right?
Yeah.
What the grounds are. Because obviously it's not the entire Disney
How does
World.
it happen? Is it like, are they like wired in and they like, as soon as they cross, it goes like a house arrest?
That ring, 100%. But no, I think it's the Sacramento guy was spotted. But I'm sure the ring they're wearing has a GPS on it. I'm sure it has a GPS on it, whether the players know about it or not.
Unless another player is snitching.
Actually, they said the hotline has not been used yet.
Good. What the fuck? You see, if they incorporate rules such as baseball is, which I think is just so stupid, it was a $750,000 fine. The fine I can get, but it was a possible jail time. Like when you put these guys in jail for stepping out of a fake bubble. If they did that in the NBA, I think the snitching hotline or whatever they have would just go blow up. You know, I want LeBron fucking not to play this game. Yo, I seen this man crossing the line yesterday.
Yeah.
Take his ass.
Let me touch on that Blue Jays perspective quickly because it blew up on social media.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, so here's the problem though. The Blue Jays are filing because the MLB is playing in everybody's home stadiums, right? So you're gonna have teams traveling around the league from hotspots in Florida, Texas, Arizona. For example, the Blue Jays are playing Tampa Bay Rays to kick off their season in Tampa Bay, which is obviously a hotspot. And then they're coming back to Toronto to play a home series. So not only did you just travel to infected area, teams from the States are coming to travel with you, and you're going to have close contact with them. You should not be allowed in the public. You have to be a 14-day quarantine as everybody else would. So, yeah, you're staying in the Rogers Center Hotel and the stadium.
The fine, I get. The jail time,
the jail time, yes. But no, players, like Shaw, the third baseman they brought in, he was like, I'm not doing this, no way. Buddy, if you want to play baseball in Toronto and you guys are playing Toronto, that's going to happen. But my gut tells me they're going to go to their AAA facility in Buffalo.
The fine, though, I feel like if it was incorporated in the NBA, not the jail, that's retarded, but the fine, I feel it could actually work a lot better, because especially for who's breaking the bubble. Guys, the young players, right?
Could you imagine a $700,000 fine for those guys? They would be broke.
They'd be broke. Yeah. Or maybe
they'd be like you and me. Yo, when's my CERB check coming in?
Yeah, yo, fuck the NBA.
All right.
But, yeah.
Let's dive into the Western Conference here. So, if you're not aware, the way this return to play is working is, if the 9th seed is within less than 4 games, so 3.5 or less games back of the 8th seed, they play a 2-game series where the 8th seed has just got to win one of those games, and the 9th seed has got to win both of those games to determine who's actually the 8th seed, right? So in the East, Washington is going nowhere. We know the 8 teams are going to be in the playoffs. In the West, it's interesting, and we have a conspiracy on our hands as well.
Ooh, yes, we do.
New
Especially
Orleans,
after looking at their schedules.
New Orleans Pelicans, right?
You
Everybody
have it
said,
up, right?
everybody said coming in that the NBA did this format because they wanted Zion
In the
playing,
playoffs.
and that has become more apparent than ever before. Their schedule,
Especially the first round against LeBron. I feel like that's what they really want. LeBron versus the new generation.
for sure, but their schedule is an utter joke. So you play Utah to start off, decent team. LA Clippers, first 2 games, tough. After that, you got to be kidding me. Memphis, that's probably a dub. That'll be a close game. Sacramento, that's a 100% dub. Washington, 100% dub. San Antonio should be a 100% dub. Sacramento again. Why are they playing Sacramento twice out of 8 games?
Exactly.
100% dub.
And they play Spurs again, I swear.
And they play Spurs once, and then their last game against Orlando. That's probably a dub or a close game. So they have 5 pretty much guaranteed wins to get within 3.5 games of Memphis.
The thing is, the schedule doesn't sound that like unfair until you hear the schedules of the Trailblazers,
every other team,
and Memphis. Like it, especially the Trailblazers. Because I guess they were in the Western Conference Finals. So I feel like it is easy to say that they probably have the biggest chance to make the 8th spot. Yeah. They have the hardest schedule. They're not playing any easy teams. I think their easiest game might be Memphis, and that's not an easy game.
Yeah. So let's look at Memphis' schedule. They kick off against Portland.
Yeah.
Tough games. Then they have San Antonio. They should win that.
Not
New
bad,
Orleans. Yeah. Tough game. And then Utah, OKC, Toronto, Boston, Milwaukee. There is not one game in there.
Maybe OKC. Maybe.
They should win that. No, OKC I'm taking over Memphis.
Oh, they should win? Yeah, no, not.
That they should win. There's not one single game there. And there's only 2 where you say you give them 2 or 3, you give them a legit chance to win.
And the worst is go over to Portland's schedule, buddy. This shit is disgusting.
So kick off against Memphis, and then this is like the Eastern teams. Like you got Boston, then Houston, then Denver, then LA. I don't know if that's the Lakers or Clippers, and then Philly, and then Dallas. My God.
Their easiest game is Dallas, bro.
Has there ever been a bigger rig in NBA history besides reffing against the Toronto Raptors?
I know.
Like, it's gross how obvious they made this.
And the thing is, like, they're really pushing this much to have Zion in the playoffs. For what? First round exit against LeBron, probably sweep. Like I don't understand what the push is for Zion to be in the playoffs. Like, I get he's box office. He's big time. People want to watch him play, but if it make it fair. I want to see the team that deserves to be 8th there, not the team that's set up to be 8th.
Exactly.
Especially you have a team like Portland Trailblazers. They were in the Western Conference Finals last year. They're not even a playoff fixture. Now they made it for sure that they ain't getting into the playoffs. And you don't want Lillard there. You don't want who really out of those 3 teams, honestly, do you think could maybe steal a game or 2 against Lakers?
Portland.
Only Portland, right?
Yeah. Only team who could give a decent series.
They're least likely to win those games that they have set. They even go 500. It's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be a tough toll.
Yeah. They even go 4 wins.
It's their last game. That's the only for sure win.
Yeah.
And by then they can already be out of it and packed it in. So okay, we're gonna go out on a very obvious limb here and say Portland probably is not going to maintain 3.5 games back of Memphis. But you never
looking Memphis the schedule, I thought they were favorites. I thought, they're for sure being 8th.
I was gonna take them too, but here's the thing: Memphis, their schedule isn't very easy. So Portland maybe could maintain 3.5 games. They have an easier schedule than Portland by a little bit. San Antonio, New Orleans, and then it's
they ain't playing Boston, Philly. They ain't playing the top 5 teams.
Boston, Milwaukee for Memphis. So Memphis could, not win a bunch of games, and Portland therefore would stay within 3.5 games.
But the thing that's so obvious here to me is, okay, let's say the Pelicans, it doesn't go their way. Their last 4 games are so easy that at the very least we're gonna watch them play in that tournament that they have set up where series. The best of 3 or whatever it is.
Yeah,
I,
not.
I and you explained earlier. What if those three teams? Can you explain this? How this whole setup could be just messed up?
Well, yeah. What happens? Because right now, New Orleans and Portland are both 3.5 games back of Memphis.
Yeah,
So what happens if after the 8 games
stays the
they're
same.
they're tied, say half a game back or 1.5 games back, and they're
Yeah,
tied? So I don't know if it goes by head to head then or something else.
do they do a three-team tournament then? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe they go by because I don't think they have the same amount of games played. Let me check this real quick here.
I just don't understand why they're doing that whole tournament for the eighth spot if their team is below 4 games behind. Like, just keep it as it is.
Well,
Whoever's,
because they don't have the same amount of games played. That's why.
I know, but now you're making it more complicated. I
Here's
feel.
what's probably gonna happen. Portland has 2 more games played than New Orleans right now. So if they're tied, they're probably gonna say that New Orleans is
Pelicans?
gonna go through. Less games, higher point percentage. So I think everything is leading towards most likely New Orleans, Memphis, 2-game series. Memphis has got to win one of those games. New Orleans got to win both. Who do you think takes that?
I don't. My issues. I just want to see how Zion's, especially because he already had a layoff coming into this NBA season, and for him to he's finally getting his reps in to go on another layoff again. I feel it's all going to depend on how he looks because Memphis, like they don't have the same talent as Pelicans, but like
They play
they've
well in
gotten
their
the reps
system.
in. They played together. They know how to win games, especially the games they need to win. So I'm gonna go out and say I'm gonna say Memphis takes it if
I
they do
think I'm, I think I'm
another
going to
tournament.
agree. I just think Memphis is a little more battle tested and wants a little more. They play better throughout the most of the
Especially
season.
Murat, bro. You see what he said? I ain't a silver spoon guy.
Yeah,
The food's fine. The hotel's
but
fine.
they have grimy, grinding guys. Right, John Morant gets dirty, and then
Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks, love that guy. Jaron Jackson Jr.
Yeah.
Right, and then who's the other
Valanciunas.
Canadian? Yeah, and then who's the
Well,
other
he's not
Canadian?
Canadian.
Brandon,
Ooh,
another Canadian on there, forward.
yeah.
These guys who are play hard. And New Orleans, if Zion isn't really going, is Brandon Ingram going to maintain his 25 points per game after this layoff? And then J.J. Redick has had one of his worst years. Lonzo Ball's not very good, and then Jrue Holiday. So I think you're right. It does come down to Zion and how well he plays. I could
Brandon
see
Clark.
Brandon Clark. I love the way that guy plays.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a good matchup, but I think Memphis, with the advantage of only having to win one of those 2 games and New Orleans having to win both, I'm going to give it to Memphis.
But the thing is with New Orleans, they have like vets on that team. They have guys like JJ Redick. He was saying he's never missed the playoffs.
But Redick hasn't been playing that well this season. And after practice the other day was shotgunning a beer.
Okay, but Zion coming in opens a lot of things up for Redick, no? Because Giannis style, drive pass out, right? But it's not only that, like how he's playing. I feel like it's his, like he can really show these guys how to click together quicker than they normally would have, and show them that these are the games that we have to win, and this is how we're gonna go about it with the swagger and everything. Memphis, this is kind of lacking that, no? Like didn't they have Iggy on their team right before he went to Miami? Well, he wasn't really working with the team.
What do you mean? He never played a single game. He refused to report.
No, but that's what I mean. He wasn't really working with the players and showing them things and breaking them into.
Their only real veteran is Jonas Valanciunas.
That's where I think Pelicans could have the slight edge, especially being shown how to click together and win the games they need to. But I just think when it comes down to because there's just not enough time for Pelicans to really join together. You have all these talents on that team. How are you going to use it?
I really think it comes down to Zion. If he's clicking, whether it's Brandon Clark, JV, whoever's trying to guard this guy on the inside, it's going to be a tough toll.
The thing is, you have also Brandon Ingram on that team, who in himself is a beast.
He's a slasher. I like Brandon Ingram.
Role players all around. And you got Lonzo Ball on that team too, who's just getting better.
So what are you saying? You're going New Orleans now? You're convincing yourself.
No, I'm saying that overall, New Orleans is a better team, but I just think that it's not enough time. I think Memphis is they've been on a roll since the season started, and they're just going to finish off on that roll. Who would you rather want to see, though? Be honest. What first round would you rather see against the Lakers? What do you think is going to really battle test them? a team like Memphis
but
or
I'm
a
not
team
gonna
like
have Portland.
Pelicans?
So
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, Portland's out of the question.
probably Pelicans can match up a little bit better.
Yeah,
But
I'd agree.
I don't really know who on the Pelicans is guarding LeBron James at point guard. Drew Holiday probably. Lonzo Ball's gonna get destroyed. You put Brandon Ingram on LeBron?
Yeah, but Lonzo Ball, like, at least you got some size there, you know? Drew Holiday's a
Not
little
LeBron
guy
size.
compared to
Drew Holiday's
like
bigger than Lonzo, I swear.
He gets some length and stuff. Really? I feel like Lonzo's taller and longer.
I'm fairly certain.
Either way, it's gonna be tough, but also like they have the team set up to like actually take a game. I just don't see Memphis being able to even take one game from Lakers. With the team they have set up.
I don't think Pelicans are taking him either, but I give him a better chance because let's not forget, Lakers also lost their best on-ball defender in Avery Bradley.
Yeah.
So that is a big loss for them, right? And you replace it with J.R. Smith.
And they got a lot of guards on the Pelicans too. You got Redick, Drew Holiday, Lonzo Ball. Ingram's a 3, but he's a 3-point shooter, so you can have someone on the perimeter.
They spaced the floor pretty well.
But the thing is, Lakers with the what I liked about the J.R. Smith adding, because I was doing some research on him, he's a great perimeter defender.
Yep, but
and
not to
you get a little bit
Danny Green standpoint.
Obviously not, but you get a little bit of Avery Bradley in him, because not only can he defend the perimeter, he's also open there for a guy like LeBron, because he's gonna be open a lot of the time. Charge in, just shoot out the 3.
Well, especially if they figure out a rotation that puts Danny Green and J.R. Smith on the floor together, that's a lot of shooting and spacing.
Yeah.
And I think Danny Green's going to become he's going to slide into that number 1 defensive role.
Yeah, for sure.
Danny
Defensively, yeah, but offensively, Danny Green, even for the Raptors, man, we love them.
Hot and cold.
Yeah, hot and cold. Some games you can't shoot a 3 if his life depended on it. But then
here's the thing: as hot and cold as he was, I think it was Game 3. He won it for us in the finals
against Warriors. Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying.
7 of 8.
And then he has one game where he shoots 8 threes, 7 threes, and you can change your mind completely on him. But his talents are only going to be used on the defensive side, I feel. Mostly.
I don't know about that. LeBron loves Danny Green. Loves him. He loves kicking it out to him when he's driving.
Now he has J.R. Smith there to forget to shoot.
If you're LeBron James, put yourself in LeBron James' shoes, right?
Yeah.
You're driving to the basket. They collapse. You got Danny Green on one wing, J.R. Smith on the other wing, both open. You're going to go to a guy who's been steady his whole career, Danny Green?
Listen.
Or you're going to be right in your head.
I don't think it's that crazy to say that you would go J.R. Smith's way. I don't think
you would. No, but would
shooting-wise, just catch and shoot?
In that position, you have both those guys open. You're going to kick it to J.R. Smith over Danny Green.
If it's playoffs, I'm kicking it to J.R. Smith.
No.
Hey.
J.R. Hold on. You were thinking this is 2016 J.R. Smith.
He wasn't that bad.
And
okay, 2017, he was terrible, but he could shoot that open 3. That's always been part of his game.
Okay, and then
standing there open for the 3. Danny Green, on the other hand, I've seen go 0 for 8 from the 3-point line, especially in the postseason when you need him.
You think J.R. Smith has never done that? You just don't watch as many Cavs games as well.
I just think J.R. Smith, he doesn't let it get to him. Whether it's a playoff game, a season game,
for sure. He's got thick skin.
But he doesn't give a fuck. He's too hot to even know what's going on.
2018, he sucked on the Cavs. 2019, he sucked so bad they stopped playing him. He demanded a release when they couldn't trade him.
Hey, listen, he's got that chemistry with Bron already.
Everybody's got the chemistry with Bron.
Not a guy like J.R. Smith, bro. You spent how many years with Bron? Bron, pass that ball to him. He knows what's happening because he's seen it so many times. Of course, we've seen that one mess up play where everyone thought LeBron hates J.R. Smith. They had some time away from each other. I'm sure they talked.
I don't think he hates him, but
I'm sure they talked.
As great as LeBron is, as great as LeBron is, there's a little tick in the back of your head.
There is.
When you go to pass this guy the ball, that you cost me a chip potentially.
But no, I don't know about that. A chip, a game, but a chip.
If they take that game 1, you don't think that's a different series?
I think it's a different series. Do I think they end up winning that series? No. Not with the Cavs team they have. That is not gonna last.
Never say never when it comes to LeBron James, man. Never say never.
I'm just saying he's gonna like the familiarity he has with J.R. Smith being on that court with him for like how long now?
Sure. You played with him for 4 years.
They discussed this, him coming into the team.
No,
almost like a Gronkowski Brady thing, you know?
Nowhere near. Gronk has never cost Brady a playoff win directly or a chip. Gronk has only helped him.
That's the best comparison, bro, I've ever heard. He says Gronk. Jared's the Gronk to LeBron's Brady.
Oh, if that's true, I feel bad for LeBron.
Hey, as much shit as you can talk about Jared Smith.
I'm not talking shit.
He's a champion.
I'm just saying, I'm not expecting him to come in and make a massive impact. I'm still giving Danny Green the top defensive assignment. And that's just a guy who's very speedy. Jared's maybe a little bit more mobile, or at least he was last time he was in the league. And primary shooter, I'm going Danny Green over Jared Smith probably as well. And just remember, even though Danny Green was inconsistent on the Raptors in the playoffs last year, there's something a little bit different about when LeBron James hits you with the ball in the perfect spot you need to catch and shoot.
As opposed to?
You agree. As opposed to anybody else in the league.
Only time. I might agree with you there.
LeBron James hits you perfect right where you need it. He knows everybody's shooting position and their release, where they like to catch the ball, and he hits you right there every time.
Was it the season opener against Clippers? I think Danny Green hit that clutch three.
When LeBron threw it like over his head?
I can see that. And he does come, because with the experience he has, whether the three's taken in the last 5 seconds or whether it's taken any time, you know, it's a three. So he's going to shoot it without the pressure. Yeah. I can see that. But it's just, I don't know what happens to him in the postseason. How reliable is a guy like that? Like
he was always good for San Antonio in the postseason. Last year he was
inconsistent. He'll shoot lights out in the warm-up and then miss every three after that. Like, he used to piss me off so much. And is LeBron going to stand for that? Or is he going to be like, yo, put J.R. Smith there now?
I don't know. You can't talk like that. Like, he had one inconsistent playoffs in his whole career. He's also
ruined J.R. Smith's whole career.
It's a big mess up. Like, come on, man.
You'll never hear the end of that. And that's going to be with him his whole career. And it was literally, 3 seconds of his whole basketball playing career.
4 point some seconds, I think, was left when he got the rebound and ran it backwards.
Ran away.
I just want to say, this guy says he's only drank Henny twice in his life. I don't buy it.
That's such a lie. And then I heard him on he was on the podcast with Matt Barnes and what was he doing?
Steven Jackson.
He was saying he wasn't high during that play. I don't believe that either.
No, I believe that he wasn't under the influence. But I feel like
bro,
I feel like no, but I feel like this guy's probably a heavy pothead, likes to drink maybe, and it's just maybe his brain cells aren't fully
turned off one day.
Yeah, fully functioning. Right? Like
in the biggest moment of
your life. You smoke that much is bound probably to do some damage to you. The thing is,
he gets that rebound and he puts it back up and wins the game.
Yeah, but he did. He did the complete opposite.
He's a star. He's a star, bro. He goes in the Hall of Fame.
No. That guy is so far from the Hall of Fame. He could go and like win playoff MVP this year and he would not be in the Hall of Fame.
In the cannabis Hall of Fame.
Exactly. All right. Any last remarks on the NBA?
That's it. I'm all done with this.
All right, we're both going to hope that Portland somehow wins some games because that would be the best 1-8 matchup, Lakers versus Portland, and seeing Melo and Braun go at it. All right. For Adis Kuchevich, I'm Jay Boyle. Thanks for watching. We're out of the mix.